It's our North Florida Athletics version of Carpool Karaoke, enjoying this great drive in the Mercedes golf van for the UNF golf team. Here on the campus, we're taking a little stroll. I'm Richard Miller, voice of the North Florida Ospreys, all the athletics here on campus, alongside the new Director of Athletics and Nick Morrow, 7th AD here at the University of North Florida. First off, congrats, Nick.
Thank you,
it's
Richard.
a big deal. Family's excited. You're thrilled?
It's the dream come true. I've been cheesy about it. I've talked about how it's been a career dream come true, and it really has, because to be the Division I AD in my hometown, where all my family and friends are, like, honestly, I can't pick a better place to be an AD at.
And you've said previously, and I know when we've talked, you've had other chances to go elsewhere.
Yeah, I have, and but you know, my priorities is quality of life for my family. I also want to be at a school that I believe we can win at, and believe that we can be successful at, and that's why I haven't chosen to leave UNF. And not to mention just the upside that UNF has, the potential. Like, we've had a ton of success, but I feel like we're scratching the surface on what we could be, and to have that opportunity to lead that movement and making us even take that next step to be more nationally relevant, that's why I've chosen to continue to stay here. Also, some of the most exciting moments of my career have been here, experiencing first-time wins, first-time championships, some of the impact we've had on student-athlete lives, and you know, and so that's what's important to me, and that's what's driven me to stay here.
So what was it like? Because a few of us kind of knew the news before it was going to happen and everything, and that you were interviewing, but in looking on the timestamp of the date, that it was almost exactly, what, 10 years? Almost exactly?
Pretty close.
UNF getting here and then landing this job.
Yeah, so July 11, 2011 is when I first stepped foot on campus as the business manager for Coach Moon. And then, yeah, I mean, we're just a little over a month shy of that 10-year mark.
That's pretty cool. Now, in talking with Coach Lee Moon, high praise for you, your work ethic, etc. He's a friend and a mentor. Has he given you some advice here lately?
Well, his advice was not to take it, for one, and then it was condolences, not congratulations. But no, honestly, I knew this whole position and this opportunity would not be possible without him. One, from him giving me so much responsibility and letting me grow into this role, and then him just really being on my side through the whole thing, and really, positioning me to have this opportunity.
And I've been here since 2014. You've been here a little bit longer, but it seems like every year you keep adding something more to your resume. You're wearing, what, 8, 10, 15 different hats throughout the week? Right.
It's I was about at a breaking point. I don't know how much more I could have really taken on, but I believe that there's a lot of potential here, and I wanted to see some of those things through, which is why I decided, you know what, I want that responsibility of having development. I want to see what we can do with our ESPN broadcasts. I want to see what we can do from a branding standpoint. And so it's just an internal drive to be successful that led me to take on those responsibilities, and again, just want to make UNF great and fulfill that potential that we have.
I mean, things like managing the $13 million budget for athletics, the increase, I mean, this is outstanding, 550% from the fiscal year of 2019 to 2021. Your donors increased by 100+%. The numbers are outstanding, and I think most importantly, Giving Day was through the roof this past season.
Yeah, well, I set pretty high expectations for myself and for our team, but Giving Day even exceeded my expectations. And but again, the reason we've had success in development is a couple different reasons. One, we put people in position that have relationships in Jacksonville, that want to be successful and see UNF be successful. UNF people leading the charge, and I knew that was a formula for us to be successful, and so that's why I hired Jeff Dennis, former UNF golfer, former pro golfer, former coach that cares about UNF and has relationships in Jacksonville, and then Josh Baker, who is Mr. UNF. Like, you're not gonna find anybody more passionate about UNF than Josh Baker. And so being able to hire them and put them in position, and then giving a vision for us to carry out and for people to buy into. And so they know, if I'm going to donate and contribute to UNF, I know where my dollar's going and I know what it's for. And so, I mean, I just simply gave the charge to Jeff to say, hey, we need to go get a new Sprinter van for our team. Ours is 10 years old. So we need to go out and raise about 100 grand to go get it done. And so, you know, we got with our golf coaches, we got with our fundraising team, and put Jeff to take the lead on that, and said, hey, go get 100 grand. And I think we got our first gift in early December, and then we had the van ordered and being customized 3-4 months later. And then we literally took this van to NCAA's in Indy for men's golf this year, you know. And so, and now I mean, it's a beautiful van and top of the line, as good as anybody in the country, you know. And so again, painting that vision and saying, hey, this is what we're going after, this is what we want to do, and then you having donors that care about it, and we got a fundraiser who's passionate about it, and just the combinations just, you know, took care of itself.
And sharing with those donors the specifics is so important, right?
The transparency is key, and I've learned that over the years, just listening to our donors and our fan base. If we're communicating and we're transparent about what we're going to do, people are going to get on board for that.
We talk about it quite often, but the athletic side of things, the GPA just keeps going up and up. The consistency is always there, 3.0 plus. I mean, you got to be proud of that, because you and Coach Moon have done so much to make it a strong point.
Yeah, I certainly can't take a lot of credit for it. Our academic team is really strong, our academic support team, and then our coaches do a really good job of recruiting the right kind of student athletes. Our coaches do a good job putting the emphasis on the academic side of things, and so that combination has led us to having a great GPA. Now my focus moving forward is, obviously we're going to have continued success in academics, but how do we continue to position our athletes? How do we educate them in other ways outside the classroom, besides just the numbers? And so a big focus of mine moving forward from an education academic standpoint will be life skills programming. How do we develop them to know how to act in the professional workplace? Building the resume, going through mock interviews, and even job placement. We're in a position we can help with job placement too. What other training can we do? Leadership, diversity and inclusion, branding, social media, different educational programs we can put in front of them to make them more well-rounded individuals. And so I truly believe the academic GPA side will take care of itself still, because we have such a strong team and our coaches do a good job recruiting the right student athletes. So I want to focus more outside the classroom and how we can educate them and set them up to be successful when they leave UNF.
So is that one of the ways, because I've heard you talk to a number of people about this inside the department, but in making North Florida, everybody says it's a hidden gem, but try and take away the hidden aspect.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool saying and everything, and it's true, but don't want to be hidden anymore. Yeah, we want to be, and that's a big thing that we want to do moving forward, is creating our brand to a point that it's not hidden, that anyone in Jacksonville knows about it, and becomes a national brand too. National brand because we're winning so many championships and we're competing in an NCAA tournament. National because it's a place people want to come to and be a part of, and they know about it, and they know about our programming, they know it's a great academic institution, know it's in a great city in Jacksonville, know it's 7 miles from the beach or right across from the town center. It's got every restaurant, bar, and shop that you would need. Like our position geographically cannot be beat.
One of the big things, we had ESPN2 here. We had the track and field event. Anytime I wear a North Florida shirt, it's like track and field. I've been there, whether it's high school, the regionals. Sure. I mean, the pools going on. What's in the future? I mean, there's so much to do here, right?
There is. You know, just to touch on track, we're trying to spread our national brand, or make UNF a national brand. Well, we just did on Monday night, when 2 hours, you're running the fastest track athletes in the world were running on our track for hours and branding all around the track. And so UNF was everywhere, and every time they went in and out of a commercial, we're at the University of North Florida campus in Jacksonville, Florida. It's a beautiful night, it's a perfect night, and you got these sunset pictures coming across the TV screen, and you've got record times being run on the track, and you've got athletes saying, I love coming here. Like, I mean, you can't buy that. You literally cannot buy that kind of marketing, and they paid us to come run that, so we made a little money off that too. You know, can't beat that. So, but besides that, bringing so many national, international track meets is having an impact on Jacksonville. You know, and so now we're a partner with the city of Jacksonville, and just this summer alone, we're going to host at least seven track meets. We're going to generate at least 40,000 room nights and a $30 million impact just this summer alone. And so obviously when the city of Jacksonville needs it more than ever with just rebounding from the pandemic and need those tourist dollars, we're able to contribute and do that. And so we're bringing people to Jacksonville that normally wouldn't come. People are visiting the UNF campus that normally wouldn't come, so it's a recruiting tool for UNF. Hopefully we're generating some revenue out of it at the same time, and we're spreading our brand. So we've really become the track and field destination of the East Coast. And that was a vision that was set back with Delaney and Moon early on, and with the relationship that Irvin's had and the relationship that I've been able to grow with the city of Jacksonville, we are now seeing that vision come to full fruition, and we're just getting going. It'll be an annual thing that we're bringing in tens of thousands of room nights and tens of millions of dollars worth of economic impact.
What about with UNF President Szymanski? Have y'all been talking? I know it's still, you get a little bit of time, you gotta finish out June and everything, but sitting with him and talking about ideas of how this campus can be greater and athletics can make it such?
Yeah, we technically I don't start till July 1, but we also know that after I was announced and I'm already here on campus, the job essentially started June 1. Which I'm perfectly fine for a welcome. I got Coach Moon there to assist me over the next 30 days, and he's been very supportive, saying just let me know what you need, what you need me to sign off on, that type of thing. So that's been great. But as I look forward to what are we going to do with campus from our facility standpoint, athletic facilities. So a couple things that we're looking at. I could literally go around team to team. So
we've got the bus.
We got the bus. We can just go and talk about each facility.
Go to each field.
That's right. I can point it all out because we do have a vision for every team and every facility. We will always have a vision, even when we complete a project. Okay, what's next for that team, and make sure it's on the books. We will create a facility master plan that we all know where we're going with each facility and each team. We want to make that public facing, so getting it on our website and so people know what it's going to cost and how they could contribute if they want to be a part of that project, whether they want to put their name on it or they just want to lend their time, whatever it is. So we could start with, tennis. Tennis needs a clubhouse on campus. You got that championship court there that's not really utilized that much. Perfect spot to drop in a building that has locker rooms and team room and training room and everything right there.
Well, and it's going to host the ASUN Championships more times than not, right?
Yeah. Probably every 3 years we'll be hosting the ASUN Championship, and if I'm not mistaken, we're even going to have one of the professional events roll through this summer. I know there was talks of that. I don't know if we have a signed contract yet, but there's some interest in special events coming through that facility. And then the current building, you renovate that and you make your offices for our coaches and stuff. So that's a project we want to do. We want to put in new bleachers there as well to improve the fan experience, and we got some plans drawn up on what that looks like. When you move to Hodges Stadium, where soccer and track live, we have renderings and drawings and placement for soccer fields. So a practice and a competition soccer field and a soccer field house. Probably going to run somewhere around $6 million to do it, but we have the space just north of lot 18. It would be great because it pulls soccer out of Hodges Stadium, gives them their own dedicated facility. Then track, Hodges becomes, track only lives in there at that point. You can run more track meets through there. Then you can, since you're not so worried about the integrity of the field, you can open it up, and now you've got maybe a high school football game of the week on Friday night. You can host lacrosse events, and now you can open up because you're not so worried about the condition of the field for our varsity soccer teams. And so, that's a project we started talking about. We've got renderings, like I said, floor plans. We know what it's going to look like. Now we got to go after and try and get that money to make that happen. So multiple teams benefit off of that transition. And then you look at baseball. Baseball is one of those projects where we've done little things here and there to improve it. We've got new analytic machines, got some new equipment. We're going to put in lights in the batting cage this summer. We're going to do some cosmetic stuff. But there's a bigger plan for that one that needs to come to fruition. And so we'll work on over the next year is to develop, okay, what are we doing with that stadium at this point? That's 30 plus years old, and it's time to renovate that facility. And so we'll bring in an architect to kind of give us an idea. Are we talking about leveling it and rebuilding the whole thing? Or are we talking about just renovating what's there? And so there's some question marks related to it, but that's something we'll move forward because we need to know what we're looking at from a stadium standpoint and what we can do to really take that program to the next level.
Softball?
Softball is in a really good spot. We've dropped a lot of money in there recently. but the one thing they really need is a batting cage. And so we have land between the field house and the baseball stadium. That's a big grassy area, yeah, right over there. And that's dedicated to putting in an indoor batting cage. So it would have air conditioning in it. It would have several hitting bays and pitching bays. It's a $700,000 price tag. We know where it can go. We know what it will look like. Again, now we just got to go out and share that vision with folks and say, okay, you want to support softball, this is the biggest need they have right now. Beach volleyball, we just finished renderings for a field house to go on the beach volleyball so that they would have their locker rooms on site.
Oh, wow.
We already have one of the best facilities around, but if we were able to do that too, that's one of the best in the country right away. And so you'd be able to drop that in. Golf, there's some things happening on the golf side that gives us an opportunity to renovate the entire facility, both the public side and the team side, and provide a higher quality team facility, short game course, putting greens, driving range, the whole 9 yards, that would be at a higher level than it is right now. And so that's something that we're working on. It's got some edge. I just can't share a whole lot, quite yet, but there's some things working there. And we have a top 25 program in the men's, top 40 to 45 on the women's, and I don't expect them to fall out of those rankings, but we don't have the facility that matches that right now. So we need to make sure we build a facility that matches the success that they're having, because then we can even elevate them a little bit higher.
Yeah, keep Scott and Joanne happy.
Keep Scott and Joanne happy would be a good thing. Yeah, I mean, a couple of quality coaches that we need to keep in the fold. They've had a lot of success, and and so it's just the right thing to do if we want to be a Division I, top 25 type of program. Arena will be a priority project this year. We are halfway through fundraising for a new hospitality area in the arena, and so basically the west side, those windows that overlook the end of the court, we'll relocate our women's basketball offices and our communication offices that are there. We already got space lined up for them to move to, already got drawings. We're ready to move on that here fairly soon. Clear out that space, that becomes our hospitality area. Then you take those windows and then you blow out those windows, and you make just a whole glass front, a lot of glass doors, glass windows, have a great view of the court, but then you put out a balcony and premium seating off of that. And so then so we're talking about a $900,000 to $1 million project, probably closer to $1 million when all said and done, but we're halfway through on fundraising for that. That will be a priority project for us this year, because if we have a quality Division I hospitality suite that we can entertain our guests on, that becomes a catalyst for fundraising for every other project I just talked about. And so that's why that's a priority project, to get that done, and we can bring in people and entertain them at our games, at our events. We can host some special events in there, and so I'm excited to keep moving on that project, because I think hopefully at least the interior of the hospitality we can have ready during this basketball season, and then we would focus on the balcony and premium seating after this basketball season in preparation for the 22-23 season.
And maybe even potentially bring in like neutral site tournaments?
Yeah, we're actually in discussion to host a potential exempt tournament this year. We wouldn't play in it this year, but there would be some high profile teams that would play in it and stuff. And then again, that opens us up. Everyone's always had a vision of bringing in some premium high school games from the area, and bringing in those kind of games that you could play in the arena and sell some good tickets and good exposure on, and have been we could stream those games for them, and so there's a lot of potential there. And again, that's going back into the partnership with the city of Jacksonville and being a partner with them, and really doing our part from that standpoint. And then there's a bigger arena project that we need to do. We have a full-blown $20 million huge renovation, but we're kind of like chopping it up into different phases right now. And so we redid the bleachers last year, we redid the lighting, the campus redid HVAC a couple of years ago. We're going to do the hospitality side, and we really need to go after the locker rooms for men's and women's basketball. So those really haven't been touched since Driscoll's first year here, and it's time. They need a good facelift, they need to be expanded, and that will become a priority project, and that's his number one want, need, wish, is the locker rooms, and our women need it as well. And so we'll go after both of those at the same time. But then also we want to move north of the arena, blow out that wall and put in a weight room and a training room that can serve all 300 of our student athletes, and that would be our new hub where our sports performance would operate out of. And Hodges Stadium would then be an auxiliary hub, our auxiliary weight room and training room, but the arena would be our main focus.
So it would take over the arena parking lot?
It would push out into the parking lot. Probably not take all of it, but it would take a few rows out. Yeah, and so we've got the real estate there to do it. We've got plans for it. We've got some renderings to do it. Once again, it's us putting it all together in one plan, public facing, and really go after it and try and find some naming right partners to make all this happen. Because at the end of the day, that's where it's got to come from, is our community support, whether that's donors, sponsors. We've got to drive revenue externally if we're going to get any of these projects I just talked about done. So our first focus is put it together. Then we need to communicate that, communicate our plan, and then talk about how people can get involved and go after it.
Is some of that reaching out to alumni?
A big part of it is, and that'll, I keep saying this will be our focus. We got a lot of focuses over the next year or so, but we really need to build our donor base, and that was something that we did this year, that we grew. So even last year during a pandemic, when Josh and Jeff were only here for like 4 or 5 months, we set a donor count record at 927 donors. This year, we've grown that to, we'll pass probably 1,500 donors. We want to keep growing that. We want to grow our pipeline of potential donors, because out of that pipeline of our annual giving donors, you're going to find some major gift donors, people that want to be involved at a higher level. Not to mention, just keep spreading your brand, you keep spreading the word, and then just people are going to get excited about it once they know what the vision is and what you're trying to do. And so alumni are a big part of that. Student athlete alumni are a huge part of that. We need to re-engage with our former student athletes more than we're doing right now. They obviously have a vested interest in what we're doing. A lot of them are very passionate about what we're doing, and so engaging with them on a regular basis is critical. And so we'll be doing a lot of that as well. And then we have a lot of just good community supporters. I mean, what's great about being in the city of Jacksonville is that you're in a major city with big time corporations, tons of companies in this area. And so there's opportunity not just from a philanthropic standpoint of supporting us, but also just from like an internship standpoint, or what can they do for our student athletes. They want to recruit our student athletes too. They want to recruit our UNF students, so they want to be a part of us for that reason too. And so again, partnerships with those folks is extremely important. That's the only way we're going to move forward, is if we have those partnerships externally.
Well, and I just think about the pro sports teams in town here, whether it's somebody in communications or ESPN, where they're now working for the Jaguars,
right,
or they're down with the Jumbo Shrimp, Sharks. I mean, we have somebody with just about every team in town.
Right. And I think that's a responsibility of our athletic department, is really providing opportunities for the UNF student population so that they're prepared to go out. They can get some real life work experience with UNF athletics and then go out and work for those different companies or the different sport organizations. Like, if you're a communications student and you have any interest in doing broadcast, you should be working for our ESPN broadcast. How do you not? One, we need you.
Yeah.
Two, how do you not have that experience? Because this is the same equipment you're going to use on a bigger broadcast, a big football primetime broadcast, just on a smaller scale, but same equipment. So you've got to be getting that experience. Sport management students, if you have any interest in working in sports, you need to be working on with your Division I athletic department that's on your campus. Get that experience. And then you can go into the business side of things. There's an analytics now program through the education school. I mean, analytics is huge in sports, and they could even help us with surveys that we want to do following the basketball season. We want to put together a fan survey and send it out to get feedback to know how we can improve. Well, that's the kind of thing an analytics program would do. And so I want that kind of relationship with every department and college on campus. We are a department within the University of North Florida, and we need to conduct our business that way. And we need to have relationships with every unit and every college as well, because it can be mutually beneficial, without a doubt.
So back to you. 3 kids, the wife, the parents, everybody's thrilled, they're anxious. Fill in the blank for us. I'm sure the kids are they into Pokemon? Is that their big thing right now, the 2 boys?
Kids are clueless. They have no idea that the life-changing career move that just happened. Amelia gets it a little bit. She did a victory dance, but then she moved on to something else. But my wife Roz would probably be the most stressed out of anyone out of this whole process and everything. Just wanted it so bad for me because obviously extremely supportive. She moved to Maryland for me when I started working at the University of Maryland, and then she followed me down to Florida, and you know, she has her own career that she's working on with her nursing degree and in her practice and stuff. And so for her to be so supportive obviously is a really big deal, and she was just so happy, you know, that the process was over and that this had all come to fruition and we get to stay in Florida next to family and friends. And I think my parents obviously extremely proud, but they also were happy to know that I'm going to be in Jacksonville for the long term, you know, and they want to be around us, and that's important to me. I've talked about quality of life. Well, part of quality of life is being around your loved ones, and so being around them is and having them a part of this whole program is huge. Not to mention my dad's an Osprey. I mean, right? So he was on the ground floor, the ESPN, and when we first got it up and running, and helped us work through a lot of different technical difficulties. You know, he's helped us expand from the arena out to baseball, out to softball. We can cover tennis now. We can cover beach volleyball. I mean, I'm assuming we can cover swimming, since swimming's right next to softball if we wanted to do that. I'm sure Brock would like to wait on that, but it's you know, there's a lot of things we can cover, and now we've got plans also to expand our fiber out to Hodges Stadium, so we have the capability of doing both men's and women's soccer and track and field. And so every single sport will be covered at that point, you know, and that was a goal when we first set this out, to be able to keep expanding our capabilities. You know, and so of course my dad was a part of making all that happen.
Yeah, hey, he's key. Without the audio, nobody can hear me. It's a big deal. What about, we just want to touch on it, have you been asked about football yet?
I have, yeah. And somebody told me during the interview process that if I was to get this, to be prepared for that answer. Obviously, at UNF, we are not ready for football. We need to properly fund the sports that we have first. Once we do that, and if enrollment's at a certain level, sure, maybe it's a discussion point then. But until we properly fund the programs we have at the level they need to be funded at, then football really isn't in our cards in the near future.
We covered quite a bit on this drive. Anything else you want to hit on, or you've given plenty of time to us? I know you got to get back to the office.
Sure. No, I mean, it's I just appreciate everyone's support. That's been one of the coolest things out about all this, is the amount of people that have reached out to me during this process and after it was announced. Like, literally hundreds of messages, whether it's text, email, Facebook, things that I didn't know you could communicate to me with, and like, it was unreal. I didn't even know I knew that many people. Like, it's just unreal how many people have reached out, and that was the coolest thing. It just solidified too that I want to do this. Like, I knew I want to do it, but after all that support, and people are like, I had guys that you grew up playing soccer with be like, my family and I will be out every event that we can get to, you know, to support you and the program and stuff. And so that, I mean, that's pretty cool. That's really cool, and that's part of being an AD at your hometown. That's what, you know, you would hope for.
A dream come true.
Yeah.
Nick Morrow, the new Director of Athletics, 7th in the UNF Athletics history. I'm Rich Miller. Thanks so much for driving with us today here in our version of Carpool Karaoke.